So someone just leaked about 10 minutes of complete footage from Astrobot. I'm not going to show it to you, of course, because A, I don't want to hurt my channel, and B, I don't know. I don't mind showing leaks when somebody else leaked it and it's already out there, but I have a feeling it won't be out there for that long. So I do want to talk about it, though, because it's really interesting to me in a couple of ways. Let me start with just the most fun, obvious thing that we see in there. I've been following this game. I played the VR one. I played Astrobot's Playroom. I enjoyed them both. I didn't lose my shit over them like a lot of people, but I thought they were charming and a lot of fun, and I'm looking forward to the new one. So I've been following it. But what I will say is, I've only heard about the PlayStation first-party cameos, Atreus and Kratos and, Ratchet, Clank, all that stuff. That's the stuff we know about. I was not aware that there were third-party cameos. And me and some of the Discord folks just went through the footage. Here's spoilers. So if you don't want to see spoilers, my understanding is the way this works, by the way, before I get to who some of these cameos are, is I guess it's like Pikmin a little bit, or Tinykins is what it was called. Not in terms of the puzzle gameplay, but that you are collecting a number of these robots. And I think you did that in the VR version, but I don't remember if you did that in the Astrobot one for the Playroom. But you're collecting a number of robots in different levels, and I guess that's how you open up other chunks of the map. Like you have to if you get 60 of them, you can go to a part of the world map and they all come together and form a tower that you can climb up a tower of these little Astrobots to get to the next section, right? And the final, looks like the final trophy or the final win is like 300 of these that you have to collect. And the guy who was playing it in his footage, he had 301, which was weird, but he'd clearly gotten all of them, and then maybe there's a bonus one, I don't know. And some of them are just generic, and some of them are obviously based on video game properties. Here are the ones that we saw that were not from Sony, that are really cool to see. We saw Klonoa from Namco, Katamari Damacy, whatever the god head is, the weird shaped head. I think we saw someone from the Wonderful 101 from Capcom, but I don't know if he was that or if he was just the character from Buzz. They're kind of similar colored. Kazua from Tekken is in there. Leon Kennedy or Chris, I'm not sure which one, and their Raccoon Police Department from Resident Evil is in there. Moss is in there from the VR game. Soul Bad Guy, who I don't know. Bukaki Drive-By in the chat was helping me identify some of these, but that's who it is, but I don't know who it is. Ken from Street Fighter, Raiden from Metal Gear, Psycho Manus was in there, Octopus Dad was in there. It looks like Stray is in there. That's not first party, that's Annapurna. It looked like there was a clicker from The Last of Us. It was hard to tell. There was one of these Astrobots that looked just like an Astrobot, but it had this kind of weird sporish barnacle-y growth on its head, so we kind of said it was a clicker. And then we saw Arthur from Ghouls and Ghosts. So there's going to be a lot of surprises in this game. Really, really cool to see. So a lot of cameos in there, not just first party. Oh, I also saw what was the one that Capcom did from Clover with the cat or the dog, the one that looked like it was done with the paintbrush? That guy's in there as well, it looks like. So very, very cool to see. Number two, I guess that's number two. Number one was just that it's kind of, I didn't realize there was kind of this Pikmin sort of Tinykins thing. And again, some of this stuff, because I haven't been following it super close, I've played the other games, but I don't really remember a lot of the nuance. Some of this stuff may already be obvious or have been reported, but this is the stuff I took from it. So number three, the idle animations are super fucking fun. They're the obvious ones, like he yawns and falls down and sleeps. But then there's some where he pulls out a PSP, not a Vita, a PSP, and plays it. He pulls out the PS1, the PS, spelled ONE, with the little flip screen that they put out like towards the end of the PS1 life cycle. He pulls that out and plays it. The enemies also seem to have some fun little, idle animations as well. So there's a lot of charm and personality and stuff like that. That was cool. Ice skating is a move that you can do. I want to say you were able to ice skate in a previous, I think you've ice skated before, but in this one, it leaves the traces of the ice skating behind. He ice skates up this big wedding cake, and it looks cool, but what's clear about it is it's clearly a lot of fun to do, because the guy who was recording the footage had this kind of like Tony Hawk half pipe. There may have been a Tony Hawk in there as well, by the way, but I don't know. Probably not, because now that's Microsoft. I don't know. There's a skateboarder. And even though he couldn't do any kind of tricks and stuff, the guy just kept going on and on, going up and down this half pipe. And this game plays so good and feels so good. It's kind of one of its hallmarks of this series that my gut would tell me that whether they do anything with that or not, that the ice skating parts of this game are going to feel really, really, really good. So that was pretty cool to see. Minor at a... You're not going to put this on the back of a box if we still had boxes, but I know some people do, but you know what I'm saying. This is a big deal for me, which is the death in this game is so fast to respawn, which is like the first time I fell in love with this part of the PS5, the SSD was Demon Souls, the remake. And you die and you're right back. And it makes the world of difference, right? This is very similar. He falls off a cliff, he's dead, you're right back into the action. Love that. You see a lot of that here in the leaked footage. I think you're going to have costumes that you can change, because this guy was running around not as what you see here, which was the footage that was kind of when they announced the game over the summer, or at Keighley's show at Christmas. He was kind of running around almost like this translucent metallic suit. So I think that's something else we learned from this, is that unless this was just like a developer mode, because there was a mode where he fell off a cliff and you saw the frame rate appear real quick. So it could have been that, but I doubt it. This looks like a costume change where he was just playing dressed up as Astrobot, as this kind of see-through T-1000 kind of thing. They all seem to live. This is kind of the structure of the game. I'm really confused by the structure now. So if you look at this trailer and you look at the previews that came out of the Summer Game Fest when journalists were able to play it, you're seeing a lot of not so much linear levels, although they might be, but very clearly handcrafted, designed point A to point B sections. All you see in the leak footage is kind of the hub world and sub-hub worlds. And those are the things that you're trying to collect the robots, the other Astrobots, to give you access to the various hub worlds. And none of it's very, very big, but it's really cool. Whenever you come back to the main hub world that all those sub-hub worlds connect from, it's almost like a Comic-Con or a E3 of video game celebrity as Astrobots. So they all kind of live on that island, it looks like, once they've been rescued. And this guy had collected all of them. So as you're walking around this kind of beachfront environment, they're just everywhere you go. It's like it's kind of like going into Ready Player One or Wreck-It Ralph. It's like everywhere you go, you're like, oh, that guy's from that guy's from that guy's from that. I mean, you have to have already found them, I think. I don't think it opens that way, but that was really cool as well. When you at least want to get from hub world to sub-hub world by using the Pikmin Tinykins kind of call as many of these guys together, and I guess they randomly show up. They just randomly pick who shows up to make the bridge that you cross. A bunch of them come together and form a tower. That is a way you get up to one of the subworlds. Another one is they form rope swings. So you've got like 3 or 4 different ropes made of these Astrobot collectibles, and you can actually leap on them and climb them and swing on them. And that's really, really cool as well. Now here's what I'll say. It looks drab. This doesn't. This looks gorgeous. And I don't think this is a lie. I think this is what the game's going to look like. And I would almost want to say the footage that leaked was super fucking early, and it still may be. It wasn't that early because it's got all the cameos in there. And the only thing I would say is the guy who leaked it says he finished it. And according to the number of Astrobot rescues he had at the bottom left, he had done that. And it was filled with the cameos. Now, I guess it's possible that this was put together way, way earlier, and it was done to sort of show prospective publishers, hey, this is what it would be like if we got Ken and Raiden and Leon Kennedy in from your game. And that's why they were there. Or this was maybe in a developer mode, because it did not look good. Like, this looks scrumptious. And everybody who has played it at the various shows no one's saying this is a lie. This is not like MotorStorm footage and then the game comes out, which is still a great game, but you know what I'm saying. So I don't think there's any danger of the game looking like the leaked footage, but my goodness gracious, that leaked footage, if it wasn't early, I'm very curious as to why that leaked footage looked the way it did, because it did not look good at all. Motion did and everything. And the gameplay looked fine, but it did not look like it was ready for prime time. Certainly not as just scrumptious as this. And I don't think there's any reason to believe this is not what we're getting. Now, here's what really I took from this, right? The main stuff, God, it looks so good. The main stuff I learned, or the main thing I learned from this footage, the leaked footage, is really how interested I am in what this is going to teach Sony, because it's like, it's clearly not an expensive game comparatively speaking to like The Last of Us or whatever. What I hate about it is it's also in a conceptual thematic genre that Sony never does. Look, that's really nice. That Sony never does well in. And they've had brilliant, I mean, it's been ages since they, you know, even, I mean, it's not like Jack and Daxter for what it was, sure. But it's been ages since Crash, and that was a very different time. All of their kind of family games, even the last one they put out, which was on PS5, which was Sackboy's Big Adventure, which was fucking excellent, wasn't really that big of a deal. One of the best games they've ever put out, Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, was Insomniac's lowest seller. It took a while to get that to profit, and just barely, according to the leaks, right? So it's interesting in that I wish they would make a game that is less expensive, that is more traditionally in a genre that they're more traditionally successful with. Because what I would hate is if they learn from this, if as great as this is, it doesn't connect commercially like a lot of their other family games. I'd hate for them to go, see, the gamers don't want low budget games or mid budget games, because, you know, clearly with Stellar Blade cost $50 million, I think that did well, turned a profit, but it's not mega. Rise of the Ronin, I guess, did well for the publisher, but not Sony. I guess it was Koei or whoever, but it's not a mega seller. I hope that they can look at this and go, now let's try something similar, but let's try it in more of a more traditionally commercial PlayStation audience genre if this doesn't connect. I'd hate for them to take the lesson of, oh, players don't want AA from Sony, because I don't think that's the case. And it could do that if they don't pick up on why this gets rejected over the holidays. I hope it won't. I hope that you'll have enough adults now who were kids when these franchises meant something to them, that they will bring their kids into it, and you'll start to get that Nintendo effect of sort of multi-generations playing it. I don't know if there's like a parent-kid mode where somebody can get the other controller and just do stupid shit like you can in some of the Mario games, but that would be pretty cool. But anyway, the leak footage is exciting, honestly, mostly for the cameos. It was cool to see kind of the light Pikmin concept. Again, I don't remember how big that was in VR, but I remember there was rescuing going on, but I don't know. I don't remember. It's been a while. But it looks, again, this is the footage that should blow your mind. If you see the leak footage, I doubt you will. I'm sure I'm seeing Sony taking it down everywhere, which I get. My guess would be that a big reason they don't want you to see it is not just the cameos, but it looks terrible, comparatively speaking. And I think this is the kind of game we're going to get in a couple of months or whenever it comes out this holiday season. All right. Be well, be safe. And if you did happen to catch the footage, let me know if we missed some big cameos. We saw some characters we couldn't identify, but most of them we got, but a couple we were like, who the hell is that? Anyway, have a good weekend. Be well, be safe, and we'll see you soon. Bye, everybody.